Okay, so what about the new saliva test? Do you have an update on that?
I do. Trying to find my notes here. Yeah. So Abbott, the same company that produces the Abbott ID Now platform, so Abbott Laboratories, just received FDA emergency use authorization to roll out its Abbott Binax Now, so Binax. So you have Abbott ID Now. This is Abbott Binax Now. There's really no equipment that's involved. It's called an ag card that looks like the size of a credit card. They will be distributed though to health sites. So I don't believe as an individual you can just order one sent to your home. It has to be the test has to be performed by an authorized healthcare worker. It doesn't have to be done in a laboratory, so they can now be done in a physician office. School nurses can do them, medical assistants. So there'll be a lot of additional places that it can take place. But we understand that Abbott is selling it for $5 a test, that it produces results in as little as 15 minutes. So it's a rapid.
So you don't need equipment. It's a card.
Yes, it's a card.
You just
I haven't seen it. I don't know how it
Okay,
works,
okay.
but it's called lateral flow testing, which has been around for a while. So they're going to collect saliva. I don't know if you place it on this card and then it gives you a reading. But they're also Abbott's developed this app for your smartphone that will send a result to it, so that particularly if you have a negative result, that you can show it to your employer, or maybe show it at the airport, or wherever you need to produce evidence of having been recently tested negatively. It's not as sensitive or has the same specificity as a molecular or PCR based test. I mean, that's our BD Max and Abbott ID Now are molecular, much more sensitive, much more specific. So sensitivity measures the correlation of positive. So this Abbott saliva base has a 97.1% sensitivity rate, which means that in their clinical studies, they did probably a nasal pharyngeal, ran it on a PCR molecular platform, and it came back positive. They then tested it using saliva on their Binax Now platform, and 97.1% of the time, it came up with the exact same positive results as the molecular. So pretty high, sensitivity. Then the specificity measures the correlation of negative results. So again, doing the same thing, somebody that tested negative on a molecular, we then did the saliva, and they had a 98.5% correlation rate. So not as high as the others, which are 99 plus. And you think about it, if you're off 2 or 3% on 300 million people across, you're going to have false negatives and false positives. But it is pretty exciting. And with that high specificity and sensitivity, again, the way we're going to get a handle on this is a lot more testing.
Right.
I know that airports, I think there actually might be an airline or maybe more that have been a driving force with Abbott, because this pandemic has crippled the airline industry, and so they want something that they can do immediately, real time, that tells them that a passenger is negative, and yes, you can get on this plane. And something that doesn't queue up long lines, that you can, something as non-invasive as just saliva and get instantaneous results.
Yeah.
It would, even Quidel is probably going to have a major impact on our visitor policy. Because if I can do a 15-minute test to somebody that wants to go up and see their loved one, and that's been, the thing we haven't been able to do, but if I can do, a quick nasal swab and, yeah, just wait here, Mrs. Jones, hey, you're negative, let me take you up to see your husband. And
Right.
so that and
Game
the
changer.
saliva one could be, game changers.
Yeah.